Yeah. How do we know each other?
Better Life Tribe. I saw this thing you posted that you were talking to a bunch of strangers, and I was like, dude, I want to talk to Alex. Like, seems like a really cool guy.
It's a good observation. I am very cool.
But yeah, I figured the more cool people that I meet, the better I'm gonna get at this thing called networking. Because sometimes I could be an awkward turtle.
Network is everything. Well, at least for me. I don't know how everybody else does it, but I'm not that good at things. So I just know people who are, and life sort of works out.
It's sometimes you know what they say. It's like it's who you know that could help you accomplish like almost any goal you have.
Yeah, that's how I've gotten everything done, is by networking. So, well, I'm glad you're here. I mean, I'm happy to talk about whatever you want. I've been doing this for years. I don't care what we talk about, whatever is useful to you. But networking is definitely something that I know a lot about. I talk a lot about. I help a lot of people out with, and like in a weird way, as much as like I'm super uniquely interested and gifted towards it, but like a lot of people struggle with it. So
topic that I wanted to touch base on, along with how to like market myself and this brand that I'm trying to create. How do I create this audience that you created for yourself as far as marketing yourself and your photography? I hear like you're also pretty good at that as well.
Thank you. Well, okay, there's a few things there. I'm good at being loud. I'm not really good at marketing. I don't have a big audience. I don't have a big following. I'm not very consistent. I just know how to be loud. And I think that if you can do both, you're really in the money. I think you're better off being like, personally, the people who I see do well are the ones that are sort of unapologetically them. That is best. Second best is like marketing, like optimization and consistency. And if you can do both, that's great. But if you're like super good at marketing, but you're boring, I don't think it goes very far. So my advice that maybe you shouldn't take because I'm not that good at this, but like my approach, my way is I knew who Alex is and I'm proud of it. And I say it loudly because I'm proud of it. And then I know who Alex isn't and I don't try to be that. I try to avoid that. I'm like, I'm not, I stay away from that. And then I'm also vocal about like what I'm not. And then when people know like, oh, Alex is, loud and obnoxious, he's an extrovert, he's a photographer. If you need a systems guy, like don't call me. If you need a networking guy, you can call me. If you people just know what I am and what I'm not. If you want like somebody to, if you want like a nurturing, like people call me for tough love. They don't call me for a shoulder to cry on.
Like a sugar
Yeah,
coat.
no, don't call me for sugarcoating. You just need somebody to tell me. You just need somebody to tell you you're great. Call anyone else.
Yeah. You're the guy that keeps it real, basically.
Yeah, and look, I understand now too, as I get older, I'm like, that's good for some people sometimes. That's not good for all people all times. And so I'm like, dude, that's what I am. That's where I'm good. If you need that, call me. Or like, I'm the guy. If you don't need that, I'm useless to you. And I'm okay with that. So I think, and it goes to maybe deeper with that. It's like, man, I don't buy restaurants. I think restaurants are a terrible investment. I invest in, mostly real estate, good operators, things that are underpriced. Like I know my investment philosophy pretty well. It's getting better. So those sort of things, if you have a brand, you're like, what does your brand accomplish? Right? And then what is it trying to fight against? And then what is it never, ever going to like, this is what we don't do. And so if you can like sort of delineate those things and you're proud of them, then you have to get on the internet, which is awkward, and be like, this is what I want to do. Anybody want to do it with me? And if you don't, fuck off.
Yeah, right.
And the right people will resonate with you.
I think I'm like really timid when it comes to like strangers and like putting myself. I mean, I'm trying to. I think that's like one of my next goal here is to try to put myself more out there on social media. But I tend to be more on the passive side because I don't know, I've just been so timid, but I'm really, like, I warm up to people, like, when put me in any networking event where it's, like, face-to-face, like, I'll do really well, but, like, speaking to a camera, basically, if there's no audience that I could, like, directly talk to, I feel, like, so awkward, and, like, you can tell, Like, so if I do a story on Instagram, for example, I would rather opt to creating like just like the text, the messages on that story, as opposed to me actually typing. And that's like one of the things that I'm trying to work up the courage to just talk to the camera. And I always have, like, I've tried where I would, try to post something about my day, for example, and I just feel really awkward talking to a camera, and I would have to re-record multiple times, and by the 10th time I'm like, I'm just not gonna post this. I'm just gonna just do a little, I'll just message it on the actual, do the text script on it and post it that way.
So, for starters, that's normal. That's everybody. That's not you. I mean, maybe that makes you feel better, but I don't like talking to a camera. The camera there's no body language. It's very unnatural.
I hate it, and that makes me look so awkward, and I'm just like,
right.
Okay.
So, but look, two things. One, it's very unnatural. There's no human experience that, you don't talk to a wall. It's very unnatural. So you're right to feel unnatural. Also, it feels unnatural for everybody, and that's why, even though it seems like everybody's on social media, the reality is 100% of the internet is created by 1% of the users. 99% of the internet feels exactly the way you do and then doesn't post. So if you do it and you just overcome it a little bit, and it won't be easy, you'll get a disproportionate amount of the market just because you try. So I'm guilty. I don't post as much. I'm trying to get better. I don't post as much as I should, but it's hard. But also I know it's a huge opportunity. And nobody judges you nearly as bad as you judge yourself. And most people can't and won't do it. So I'm man, if I can just suck it up, I can get a ton of, look, here you are. Just because I'm hey, this is awkward, but here I am. And last thing I'll say this is, you get better at it. You post something and then people are like, I love that you posted this. And you're like, really? Maybe I'll try it again. Maybe I'll do it again.
Yeah, that's one of my biggest goals for the next quarter here, is just to establish more of an online presence and not to be so shy about it, about posting and messing up 100 times recording. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, you'll get better and you'll care less. And yeah, I mean, look, I'm giving you advice that I need to take. I don't post nearly enough, but look, I've done well on social media and I am bad at it, but I'm trying to get better. So you don't have to be perfect. You just have to keep trying. Do you podcast?
I don't podcast. No.
Podcasting gets you content.
Listening to podcasts, or do I have my own personal podcast where I'm just talking?
Yeah, so if you have a podcast, you can create content with a conversation rather than having to talk to a camera.
Thought definitely could incorporate that into the post. You're talking about just create a podcast where you're just talking about content, different topics, and then incorporating that into social media.
Yeah, I mean, what's your brand?
I am creating a beer hospitality experience here in DFW, and trying to really, the customer avatar is try to get more women into beer. My partner and I are trying to open up the very first 100% woman-owned brewery here in DFW. It's also going to be a boutique hotel, but we're trying to focus more so on the beer and hopefully getting that hotel aspect down the road. But right now I'm trying to get the branding and the marketing on this product. Okay.
First off, I'm moving to Austin, so I'll have to come see your brewery and take some photos when you get it open.
Yes, please. Yes.
Also, I'm good at parties.
Nice. Well, you're definitely invited to all of them, future parties that we have out here.
Doing a beer for women podcast sounds like it'd be easy. Do you want to talk about that once a week for an hour?
Yeah.
And then you're just talking to somebody instead of having to talk at a camera. And then what you do is you go into something like Opus Clips, which is an AI piece of software that takes your long form content and chops it up into short form content automatically.
I gotta write this down because I tend to forget a lot of things. So you said it's Opus Clips. That's another thing I wanted to ask you about tech. I'm not very technologically savvy, so I'm always open to tips and tricks on how to be the most efficient as far as posting content.
I can't help you with efficient. I have other strengths, but I can't help you with efficient. I don't know what you mean by efficient. Like,
Oh, like, for example, like, as far as like gizmos and gadgets, like I don't know anything about like, okay, how do I not blow up the memory on this iPhone? Because I take a lot of videos and such like that, and I know that there's like this like scan disc like USB drive that you could plug in, that you could upload all of your content, and then a lot of people use different types of like softwares to create their videos and such, and I'm just like, dude, that's way over my head. I want to just keep things like simple. Let me point and shoot and then post it on, but you know, eventually I'd like to be a lot quicker at that.
well, first, you're probably recording in 4K. Stop recording in 4K. It takes up 4 times the space, and Instagram only accepts 1080p anyway.
I'm guilty of that.
Yeah, everybody's guilty of it. And then you don't need to do 60 frames. You can do 24 or 30 frames. Again, 60 frames is twice the storage size as 30 frames, and you can't tell the difference. Actually, it looks worse.
Frames?
It looks worse on 60 frames, much.
Really explored or tested it out.
Yeah, I don't know if you can see this, but there you go.
Yep,
See in the top, HD 30. Editing, I mean, I don't know if you want to be an editor, but I don't really edit that much of my videos, to be honest. Like, same problem as you. It takes too much.
So that's the thing. I feel like, well, one, I'm really scrappy because I'm trying to raise capital. I don't work full time, and trying to find the who to do my what, and is just trying to be creative enough to get a group together that is motivated to work on these projects with me. That's like the thing that I'm trying to find right now, is just like, hey, like, who do I reach out to who's like, for example, as far as photography, trying to figure out how do I get some great content, maybe using a photographer, how could I add value to him so that he or she could provide some really cheap photography in return. And but yeah, it's just establishing that relationship where it's like, how could I add value to certain people so that, you know, it's like a win-win, you know, like we're I think starting out.
There's no shortage of photographers that are new and probably bad, but like will do it for free or for beer. And that's a good place to start. Won't be great, but you know, again, I'm going to be in Austin in a few months. So, I mean, I can't come there every week or anything like that, but you know, here and there, happy to come by and maybe help you out, something, you know, for a grand opening or I don't know, something. I'm just saying, like,
yeah, for sure. You'll be
but like if you don't have a website so people can know what you're doing, and you don't have any content so people can know how to help, and you're not asking for help, and you're not like, if you're not telling people or asking people for help, and I'm not even saying like to be extractive, but even if with good intention, like, hey, I have a win-win. If nobody knows about it, they can't say yes. So, so with content, you know, I mean, even with this is great because now I know. I'm like, oh, okay, brewery in Dallas. So I have a buddy who owns a brewery, but it's in Iowa. I don't know if it'd be helpful for you to know him, but like, if you start telling people, hey, I want to open a brewery in Dallas, I need help. I want to open a brewery in Dallas, I need help. It's like, people will help, especially if all they have to do is give you a phone number or text message or go out to coffee. But like, you have got to yell it. So that's where I encourage you with social, where you're like, hey, I'm trying to open a brewery in Dallas, and I need help with 1, 2, and 3. Can you help me? Just share this and reach out. And like, maybe it works, maybe it doesn't, but freaking do it next week again. Like, you have got to be, like, if you believe in the mission, you got to be like you got to be pretty aggressive about it. I understand you're shy. I'm not discounting any of that. I'm shy. Like, sometimes I'm not discounting any of that. I'm just trying to show you, like, you know, it's not going to hurt your goodwill if you're like, hey, I'm trying to do this thing, and you know, I need help, and I'll create win-wins. I'm not trying to like take, but I need people to know. So as long as you can believe that, which you probably do, and you believe in the mission, it's just a matter of being like, just say it, send it, and like 1, 2 people can change everything. I don't know, but you need help.
That's what I'm going to work on next month, is just trying to create more content finally putting together a website for the business, because I don't think it's really, I think it helps to be in different social media outlets and also to be more present, to create more of an online presence outside of Instagram, which I'm
all my
not
business
on.
came from a website, not from social.
Nice.
Yeah. All my business came from having a website where I just blogged and told people what I was doing, and then they'd come visit and they're like, oh, this guy's cool. Let me email him or let me sign up for a video chat.
Do you have like a monthly or quarterly or some consistent newsletter going around? Is that how you're attracting people to your website? So how does that look like?
I used to. I'm starting it up again. One of the things, again, I'm not very consistent. One of the things that I messed up on over the last few years is everything has to go by Alex. And if everything goes by Alex, it's inconsistent. So I hired a VA, and now I'm putting in systems and people in place to like make sure that these things run, even when I'm not on top of it. But I had newsletters go out every week or every
Monthly.
every week or every month, like a lot. Every time I read a blog, and then I would just go on. Here's another one. I went on a ton of podcasts, and then people are like, "Who are you?" I'm like, "I'm Alex." My website at the time was called Broke as a Choice. You want to talk about real estate? Let's go. Like, there's no shortage of but you said something a minute ago though. You said, "Yeah, it's what I'm gonna work on next month." Like, what's gonna happen between? It's the 8th. What's gonna happen in the next 22 days? That has to make this wait.
I am. Well, I know. I guess I'm creating excuses by saying this, but I'm planning my baby shower right now, and on top of that, trying to finish up my business plan. That's like my Q1 goal is finish the business plan. Just have all of at least the structure, finish the financial projections, and I feel like if I focus on too many things all at once, then like it just doesn't get done. So I try to like give myself specific milestones to really hone in and focus on one. So my biggest one for this month is finish the business plan, try to get the financial projections of that business plan honed in, because that's like the biggest thing that's missing is trying to get quotes for all of the equipment for this future brewery. Trying to get more accurate numbers from architects, engineers, general contractors, and it's also a waiting game too, because not everyone's as responsive. So that's why I'm like, okay, let me focus on this, and then one thing at a time, so that way I'm not pulled in so many different directions.
Yeah, sure.
So,
I like that. Well, okay, get it done.
Yeah, I will. But yeah, that's my excuse why I can't get it done now.
No, I mean, look, I think it's really important to have plans on paper. I'm not great at it, but for me it helps when I can show somebody something, because what I've learned, or my experience teaches me, that I can tell somebody something and get you all hyped up and be like, this is what's going to happen, this is what we're going to do, and yada, yada, yada. But then you go home and you're like, it's just a memory. You can't share it. You can't reference it. You can't note take on it. So being able to give somebody a pitch deck, essentially, and the more thorough the pitch deck, the better, in my experience, the better it is, because they can go home and they can tell their business partners, they can tell their husband or wife, they can write notes, they can write questions, they can add on it, they can rework on it without you. When if it's just a memory, they remember a feeling, they don't remember all the details. So I like having things written out. The only downside is business plans and businesses never run the same. The business never runs the plan. So it's like, and the business plan will never be perfect. So it's one of those things where it's like, all right, I hear you. It's a good idea. Go get it done. Also, the business plan is never going to be what makes money. So you got to like.
Yes, that's true.
Yeah.
But yes, definitely we'll hit hard on the content next month, and because I'm also not traveling too, because I think what hurts the most is when I'm traveling. My son doesn't adapt to change very well, so it's like the lack of sleep and like being just exhausted from him just not sleeping throughout the night.
Do you travel a lot?
I used to. I'm gonna stop after next month, but I'm typically gone at least I don't know, 10, 12 times a year.
Yeah.
And I try not to be, but because of I do a lot of networking, so I go to a lot of like conferences, retreats, and so that usually gets me out of town.
I do the same thing. I love it.
Yeah. So last month, I was actually out in Austin for the Texas Craft Brewers Guild. We do an annual meeting, and that was one of our meeting, and that's when basically all of the cool beer kids get together and just network and shoot the shit, and we have our big awards ceremony. There's this huge competition that we have annually. It's kind of like the World Beer Cup and Great American Beer Festival, where there's like different categories and styles of beers that get judged. And my partner actually was a judge last year. She couldn't be a judge this year because she's also pregnant. So we're both pregnant at the same time. Which works out because we totally understand each other, and it works out perfectly. But she was a judge last year, and she actually won 2 awards for her beers at the brewery that she was working at last year. So it was pretty neat. But this year is definitely a different experience. We didn't get a chance to go to the after party because we just knew we weren't going to enjoy it. So we just went home and went back to the hotel and just hung out.
Dude, yeah, it sounds like yeah, I mean, I love that. I do a lot of traveling. Sometimes it can be a distraction. You're like, okay. None of this is all good networking. It's industry networking, but sometimes you're just like, none of this is profitable. It's all expensive. So I love the idea of just like, hey, let's sit here and get this thing launched. Yeah, it sounds like you're on the right track. I mean, I don't know how much I can help.
Yeah, I just like talking to people about it, just to get ideas. And like right now, I'm trying to figure out whether to hire a coach for the hotel side, because I tried cold calling a bunch of hoteliers, and no one's willing to, unless they're getting paid, no one's willing to go out of their way to coach and to mentor someone. So I've been looking up some mentoring programs, and they're not cheap, as they should, because it's a wealth of knowledge that you're learning. So I did a consultation with a hotelier yesterday, and really fell in love with it. But then I talked to some more people I talked to 2 people this morning who they have a lot of experience with sales and marketing, Fortune 500 companies, and they almost convinced me not to do the coaching program because of the direction of where I want the business to go. And that's because they asked me this specific question, which is how am I going to be drawing people into this beer hotel business? And I said, it's the beers. The beers is it's going to be a destination business where people come for the beers and then they stay at the hotel. It's a little small bed and breakfast. And they said that, well, maybe you should focus a lot of your time and your energy and your resources, like your finances, on the beer, like marketing that beer, making it a flagship, making it known out there. Like, focus on that first, and then maybe consider doing a coaching program with the hotel side later, maybe making that an afterthought. Because right now you could look for a location and consider, on the hotel side, consider having a big enough space where you could in the future convert it into hotel, but all your money should be funneling towards making a badass brewery first, getting your name out there, and then working towards the hotel aspect of it. And now I'm just like, which advice do I follow? Do I focus on the hotel side and get a coach, or do I focus on helping my partner grow the brewery aspect of the business? Because that was our original goal, was I take care of the real estate and she takes care of the beer. So.
Yeah, I don't know. You sound like me. You love a distraction.
Yeah.
None of this stuff, coaches, conferences, dude, none of that stuff makes money. Business plans.
Yeah, no.
So there's a different question. How long have you been working on this project?
Since early last year. And
yeah
that's true. Yeah.
We got to get something launched. You probably have enough people and enough education. You're not going to know until you do.
True.
Yeah, we got to get this thing launched. We got to get this thing. We got to start putting in offers on places. We got to start buying equipment. We got to start getting sales. You can launch a hotel, but launch something.
Yeah, that's what they said. So they said just focus on your product. Just make that the center of attention, and eventually people will want to come to the hotel. But if you want to center the things around the hotel, you have other boutique hotels that you're competing against, and a lot of banks see hotel investing as a risk because there's a lot of fixed costs that's associated to it. Kind of, they gave an analogy of an airplane. It's like it doesn't matter how many tickets that they sell. If you have 5 people that are flying on that plane, that fixed cost is going to be the same versus having a full plane. So that's their analogy. We're like, with the hotels, same concept. It's you're going to have that fixed cost, but the biggest thing, because they have that sales, that business background to back it up. But like, you want to create a product that people will come to, and that's your selling point. That's what's going to get people to your hotel doors. That's what's going to generate the sales and people wanting to come to show up. Is you want to create a badass product that like everybody wants to get their hands on. And if that's the business model, that you want the brewery to be the center of attention, that's what you need to focus on right now, is market that beer, basically.
Yeah, they're 2 different businesses. It's start one, then start the next one. Don't try to start 2 businesses at once.
That's basically what what they were advising me.
Yeah.
So.
Well.
But yeah, that's where I'm kind of like stuck. I'm just like, yeah. And then the thing is too is like my partner, she's not doing so well right now. She's having a lot of like health issues. So I don't want to like impose or anything like that, but at the same time I'm almost like, I'm not the beer person, I'm not the expert. I was happy and I was glad that I found her, but now it kind of took a turn where it's like trying to give her space, but I still want to focus on the business, like trying to figure out ways to, what do I need to work on right now to continue growing what we've started.
Yeah, I don't know that space, but it sounds like you need to go make some beer and start selling some beer.
I know.
Can't you sublet out microbreweries and make your own brew?
I think so. I think I might like focus on that right now, is to build this brand.
Get a brand.
I hired a graphic designer or a freelancer to create me a logo, and he has to start there, and then just start making beer, start producing content. Maybe that's what I need to do. Maybe I just need to take a step back from creating this business plan, and when I finally secure a location and that's all lined up, maybe I should focus on the business plan right then, and maybe I should just focus on content and creating beer right now.
Yeah, I don't know.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, a little clarity though, for sure.
Yeah.
Simple.
Yeah.
Simple.
Sometimes I overanalyze things, so I think it helps out just by talking it out.
Yeah,
So.
That's okay. But also, again, analyzing, talking, logos, none of these are business. None of these make money. We got to get the profit. Otherwise it's like, I don't know what your financial situation is, but it'll run out.
Yeah.
Or you'll get bored of just like, planning for stuff. So I don't know what your skill set is. If she was like the beer person, it's like, dude, if you're going to do the marketing or whatever, like, yeah, go market, go get a beer, do the marketing, and then like, hey, when you make some sales, you're like, okay, now we have a product, now we can go brew it ourselves. But like, start with like, what can you get revenue from fast?
Basically making beers.
Yeah, if you want to, it just seems like it's so, you're like, I want to do this. I want to start a restaurant, a brewery, I want to buy a building, I got to create a new brand, and I'm like, and then just, I don't know you, but 30 minutes, it's like one person trying to do it, with babies. It's like, just try to make a little revenue, make it consistent, expand it, reinvest into the next thing, instead of trying to start here. Yeah, me too. I'm giving myself advice at the same time. Yeah, but then I don't do anything because I'm trying to make it too big.
That's my thing. It's like, I want to go 10x,
Yeah, but then how many? But then you do 0x.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, because it's too big. You're like, I don't know how to bite this monster. You're like,
Yeah.
just yeah, go talk to some microbreweries local and be like, hey, I want to start a women's beer brand. Can I resell your beer, or can we create a brew for myself and we'll just brand it and see how that does, and then you can go do the marketing.
Yeah,
I don't know if that's
I
the
might-
answer. I don't know anything about this space, but I'm just like trying to get you to like, I'm just like,
See, find clarity basically, because I'm
Yeah.
just like all over the place right now.
yeah, that's how it feels. I'm like, girl,
I know. I'm like, I feel
Less
like I have
coffee.
to- yeah. Oh yeah, I know, right? Bouncing off the walls all the time.
I love it, but like what I've done is I partner with people who do ops.
Are you still buying a businesses?
Yeah, so we just partnered on a property that's like an event, a luxury hotel wedding space.
Yeah, I think I
and
saw
then-
that. You posted that on Circle.
Yeah, so I'm working with them a bit. I got a buddy who's in Des Moines who's trying to buy. We're trying to scoop up food franchises like in bulk. So we might go pick up 3 of those. You ever heard of Pita Pit? Yeah, so we're gonna go. We got a three building package of those. We're gonna go try to buy. So a couple other little things that might work out. So we're working through it. But again,
How did you
for me, it's
how
just
did you
like
get into buying businesses versus buying real estate?
people. I don't care either way. I invest in people. So I'm like, oh, this guy out in Des Moines is buying these food franchises and doing really well with them, and he needs help. So I'm like, okay, let me work on that with you.
I think the more that I talk to more business owners and entrepreneurs, like the more I want to invest in businesses and than the real estate.
Yeah, real estate's high right now, so it's just hard to like. You need active income. I need cash flow right now. Real estate, I'm like, oh, it's a
Exactly.
great place to stack cash, but it's like
Yeah.
6-8%. Can't get rich.
That's the same with me. I feel like with businesses, you could more than like 10x or 100x like your profit versus real estate. It's based off what like the equity and the cash flow, and you could only go so far.
Yeah,
So.
fixed overhead or fixed income, basically. All right, Kat, I got a boogie.
For jumping in on this call, I think I'm gaining more clarity. I think I just need to talk to other people about this whole situation, because I feel like I'm all over the place, and I just kind of need more of that clarity.
You are definitely all over the place.
Yes.
Write it down. Write it down. And then somebody will look at it and be like, that's too much. Write it down.
Well, I appreciate your time, and have a great weekend.
All right, you too. Hang tight. Don't leave.